Welcome back. Calls for a national shutdown over fuel prices fell on deaf ears yesterday. Cosatu was not part of those calls, but the Federation says it wants practical solutions to the fuel price crisis. It wants to meet the Ministers of Finance and Energy to discuss this issue. Well, let's get more from Cosatu's Phetoe. A very good morning to you, Phetoe, and thank you so much for joining us. So, of course, national shutdown trended on social media quite big, but nobody was out on the streets. Even us as media houses were, of course, monitoring that situation. And you're saying you want practical solutions, but would a strike from the entire country that is affected by these fuel prices not be a practical solution?
Well, thank you very much, and thank you very much to our listeners. We don't think that the shutdown will be able to resolve the problem, as we have said in our statement, that we think we need a practical solution on these challenges that is facing everybody in this country. Workers are facing with the cost of living now, and as we allow this thing of the fuel price going up, it's going to subject the consumers, the commuters, the workers, everybody into a serious economic crisis, as we're also already in the economic crisis. The solution that we want is about a fuel tax on this matter. As we said in a discussion, that we would want this matter be tabled in NEDLAC to have a comprehensive review on the fuel price, and also an agent intervention in relation to these challenges that we're facing in relation to the transport. We need a very public, reliable transport, that the metro rail, all of them must in place, must start running, so that we're able to reduce the impact to the communities.
Now, what then if the Ministers of Finance and Energy and even the President of the country come back and say to you, well, we're not hiking these prices because we want to and because we're having fun. We are affected, by the global situation. And of course, one of the examples would be the war in Ukraine.
Well, obviously, if the discussion at NEDLAC fails, we as workers, jointly with other people, with the other sectors or the team that is at NEDLAC, the constituency at NEDLAC, obviously would have no choice as workers follow the correct procedure in terms of the Labour Relations Act. When we call shutdown, we know that we call a shutdown. We're calling a shutdown that will then be able to have workers be protected from the strike. As we said in our statement, currently we're facing a massive unemployment rate, and if we allow this fuel price to go up without engagement, the issue of the cost of living, the food, the transport, obviously business is going to affect business. At the end of the day, business are going to come back to the discussion and say to the trade unions, we are not able to afford our cost, therefore we are retrenching workers, and that is going to affect and increase the economic crisis that we're facing. If I answer your question directly, if at the end of the day there's a dispute around that matter, we'll have no choice as workers to take a protected action in relation to this matter.
So, if a solution cannot be found, a practical solution cannot be found, a national shutdown is there's no other choice but to go in that route, you're saying?
If the solution is not found, if they have gone to all the process of engagement and were in deadlock, obviously would have no choice as workers.
Now, someone would then say to you that you initially said that a national shutdown is not seemingly the best option at the moment. Let's just sit around the table, brainstorm and try and find other solutions. And then they say to you, if you're now saying with no choice we are going national shutdown, you are going to cripple the economy that is already crippled. So what would then be the point of a national shutdown? How then would you respond to that?
Well, I will respond by saying like I said, we can't call a national shutdown now when we have not engaged on the matter. And as Cosatu, we have not been approached in relation to this matter of the shutdown. But as I said, if there is an engagement and there's deadlock, it means there is no solution. As you know, the workers, when they are faced with challenges at the workplace and their solution, the only remedy that the workers can do to push and force the government or employers to agree to that is the issue of a strike. And as I'm repeating myself, we can't go to a strike when we're done the strike that is not protected. But as currently now, there's never been a full discussion at NEDLAC, and there is no consultation that we have sent our approach and proposal to government, but there's never been a full engagement in this matter.
So NEDLAC, government need to have a proper engagement, because I can hear you're saying that a solution can be found. There really is no need for a national shutdown. But besides NEDLAC and government, and I suppose governments around the world, who else needs to be involved in finding the solution?
Obviously, at NEDLAC, it's the constituency, which is business, community, labor, and government. But also, as I said, commuters can also be engaged in that matter. The taxi industry should be engaged. Everybody in this country which is affected with this matter through a process of consultation should be engaged in this matter. And I'm saying that if we are able to engage, so we think that as Cosatu, an engagement and a solution can be able to be found.